Hey guys, it is the man called Ant, and I'm pooped. I am so tired today. Today is day 13, an incredibly uneventful day. Um, Again, been puttering around with little projects here and there, but nothing serious going on. Um, Last night was a rough night. It was one of those can't sleep nights, and it happens when you're water fasting. It is not unusual at all for your internal clock to just get flipped over. So I tried sleeping a couple times last night, didn't work. I went to meditate for a while last night around 5 or 6, and I guess I must have zonked out for a couple hours. But then, yeah, I felt really tired, and I'd go to bed, and I'd kind of lie there for a couple hours, and it just wasn't working. So I ended up getting up and going downstairs and watching a movie. And I thought, well, I'll just put a movie on while I'm lying on the couch, and I'll pass out, and I won't remember any of the movie, but I'll go to sleep. Didn't happen. I just stayed awake. I might have had an hour nap at some point during the day today, but nothing major. So actually I can see it that I look very tired. I feel very tired. So tonight I'll be going to bed probably shortly after making this video, which is good. I have a feeling that tonight will be a good sleeping night. But yeah, today is day 13. Didn't bother hopping on the scale today. I gotta say, I brushed my teeth the crap out of them today. No toothpaste or anything, but they were just feeling gritty and yucky, and I didn't like it. And just not being able to brush and kind of freshen your mouth, it's even making water start to taste sour. Either that, or I'm just getting tired of just drinking water. But yeah, it's not as cool, crisp, and refreshing as it once was. It's all just blah, blah. The wife had bone broth tonight. Yay, wife. Which is good. I mean, she made a chicken broth for herself tonight, and then I believe she also ate the chicken, so it wasn't really broth, it was soup. But yeah, I was going to, on Monday, for the course of the day, and then break the fast later that afternoon, because that'll bring it to the full 15 days. I was going to use the Instant Pot and make a beef broth in that, because we've got the bones, we've got the other stuff to put in it. But she's convinced that it'll be so much more nutritious and so much better if we actually cook it for a long time and actually let it simmer throughout the entire day tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a crazy day. Tomorrow there's going to be beef broth brewing and boiling away on the stove that I know I'm going to be eating, but can't eat until a good 36 hours after she gets it started. Oh, that's going to be tough. I mean, it's one thing to smell her cooking that I know I'm not eating at all, but to smell stuff that is going to actually be going into me, oh, that's going to be a challenge. So day 14 is going to be fun. But yeah, day 14. Woo. That's going to be exciting. And then, yeah, day 15 coming up on Monday. And, yeah, really looking forward to getting back on track. I haven't worked out an exact refeeding plan yet, but I feel it's going to be along the lines of bone broth and some apple cider vinegar on day 1 of the refeeding. Day 2, I think I'm going to make myself a nice plain Jane simple tomato soup, and I'm going to show you how I do it, because I do it in a very unique way that I love. I love it. As opposed to boiling and peeling the tomatoes, then making the soup and either eating chunky soup. I prefer nice, smooth, creamy tomato soup. So a lot of times that means that you need to take the soup after you've cooked it, put it into the blender, blend it up for a while, and then serve it. No way. I do it a little bit differently. I cook my soups, my cream soups, my pureed soups, in a soy milk maker. because the soy milk maker is essentially a blender and a heater all in one unit. That's what it does. It heats up the soybeans to make them soft, and then it blends them, it breaks them down, blends them, and then cooks the soybeans in order to make the soy milk, right? Same idea with tomatoes. It does the exact same thing. It does the blending, everything for you. So basically you add your ingredients. For me, it'll be 2 tomatoes, a half an onion, maybe a little bit of celery for some added zing and flavor, a little bit of stock from the I would be definitely saving stock from the beef soup or the beef broth for that, the bone broth. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. You know, maybe a few little herbs and spices in there. I don't go too crazy on it though, because in the past I used to make my soups just everything, all the spices, everything in all at once, and then at the end, if you accidentally put too much of one spice in, then you're stuck with a soup that's just not as appetizing. The other thing I thought of too is if you put your spices in afterwards, say for example you have a bowl of just straight tomato soup, love it, tastes delicious, but then you want another bowl later, and you decide you want something a little more like a zip, you can throw a little spice into it, a little bit of hot sauce. And that way you've got a slightly different soup as opposed to the exact same soup. If you'd put the hot sauce in to begin with, it would just be spicy soup. So yeah, I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's the easiest thing in the world. The prep is easy because you basically rough chop everything. Like I said, you don't have to boil and peel the tomatoes. You don't have to cut up the onions tiny. You just chop, random chop everything, throw it in, and in about 20 minutes you've got thick, rich, creamy tomato soup. It also works amazing for split pea soup, whereas in the past you'd sit there and you'd boil a ham bone, and you'd have to first rehydrate the dried split peas, and then you'd have to cook them for a long time in the bone broth, remove the bones, typically it's a ham bone that you're using, and then you'd have to blend it afterwards. Those do not get small enough on their own, whereas again inside the soy milk maker, if you have the ham broth already, the ham bone broth, great. If not, I just take a chunk of ham, throw it in there. I throw in all my ingredients, including a handful of just the pure dry green split peas. 20 minutes later, the peas are completely cooked and rehydrated. You skip that step entirely. Beautifully blended, you skip that step entirely, and you just eat. Now, I'm not sure how well split peas do on the keto diet, but you know, it's like I've heard from some of the guys, if you're following a very strict keto diet, that might not work for you. And I mean, it also depends how much soup you're eating. If the split peas have quite a few carbs, I use a handful, just a handful, and that makes over a liter of soup. So I'm going to have to get a food scale and to see how many carbs are in that, because if there's only 5 or 10 carbs in that handful of split peas and it makes 4 or 5 servings, that might still be keto friendly enough to get me over the hump. And I mean, realistically, even if it's not 100% perfectly keto with super low carbs, that's okay too. I mean, so one day your insulin spikes a little bit, it'll come back down again. That's kind of the way human beings work. But yeah, so there we go. Day 13, the longest I've ever been on a water fast. No aches or pains, no complaints. Even most of the itching and things like that have been kind of plaguing me are gone. The only thing I wish I could get rid of was this kind of flavor in the mouth, but that will come too. So guys, I'm going to say goodnight to you now and go get some rest, and I will see you tomorrow for day 14. Woo!